Good morning, students. Today, I'm going to explain the features and importance of business environment. As yesterday, I told you people about the business environment and its internal and external factor forces. Now, I'm going to explain about the features of business environment. The first feature is totality of external forces. That's mean business environment is depend upon the external fact forces which are not available in the organization, but these resources are available outside of the organization, and every businessman has to face these type of resources if he want to run his business successfully in the economy. These forces may include competitors, customers, government policy, and other many important factors and forces which has to be faced by the businessman in his daily routine or regular routine of business. So it is an important factor which has to be studied by the businessman. The another feature is specific and general forces. These are the important forces. Specific forces are those forces which have the direct impact over the business, like customer, like preferences of the customers, like stakeholders are the group of people those are directly or indirectly participate in the business, like customer, investors, suppliers. Those have are very important link with the business. So a businessman has to face the specific forces as well as the general forces are also available in the economy, and every businessman has to focus over the general forces also, like economic environment, like social environment, like political environment, technological environment, and legal environment. These environment also faced by the businessman if he want to run his business smoothly or smoothly in the economy. So these are the specific and general forces which have direct or indirect impact over the growth of the business, and the businessman has to study about these type of general and specific forces if you want to run his business, if you want to survive in the economy for a long period of time. The another one is interrelated. Generally, interrelation indicate the relation between internal environment as well as external environment, because we know that if any type of changes take place in the external environment, it also impact over the internal environment of the organization. That is why both internal and external environment are interrelated and interlinked with each other. If any type of changes take place in the internal environment, then also it affect the external environment. We can take the example like the government of India has made changes under the minimum wages act, in which they increase the salary and wages of the workers by 10%. Then ultimately it will affect the internal profit rate of the organization. That is why we can say interrelation is also present in the case of business environment. Another one is dynamic means keeps on changing. As we know that environment always keeps on changing, so it is very difficult for the businessman to make the predictions of the environment, that what type of changes will take place today and what type of changes will take place tomorrow. That is why it is also considered as a feature of business environment which always keeps on changing, and it is very difficult task for the businessman to identify, to analyze the changes what will be take place in the environment. Uncertainty. The another feature is uncertainty. Uncertainty means we cannot predict the environment, the businessman, or we cannot predict the environment 100% accurate, because the changes may be take place suddenly. The changes can be take place at random in the economy, which can be affect the business very badly. That is why uncertainty is present in the case of business environment. Also complexity. The another feature is complexity means business environment is complex in nature because many factors and forces are available in the environment, and it is very difficult for the businessman to identify accurately that in which field the changes are taking place. Like if a businessman satisfy the needs of the society, then maybe changes take place in the legal environment. If businessmen follow the legal environment, then the changes maybe take place in the political environment. So business environment is very complex in nature. It is very difficult to predict 100% that what type of changes will take place in which environment. That is why complexity is present in the case of business environment. And the last one is relativity. It is an important feature of a business environment which indicate the relativity. Relativity means if the demand of one product decreases, then the demand of another related product will increase in the economy. Like we can take the example of Maggi. When the government of India banned the Maggi noodles in India, then the demand of other noodles increases in the economy. That is why relativity is also present in the case of business environment. So student, these are the some of the features of business environment in which you have to studies about these features, then only you comes to know about the business environment properly. And some of the situations, some of the cases are also present which I have given in your notebook, given in your homework. So you just go through these features, then only you comes to know about the answer of the case studies which I have given in the notes. So the another thing is importance of business environment. Look, it has a very what we call weightage in the board examination also. So the first importance of business environment is first mover advantage. First mover advantage means if a businessman want to run his business, he has to identify the opportunities for his business whatever present in the economy. If the businessman is able to identify the opportunities, then only he can run his business smoothly or successfully in the economy. If he fails to identify the opportunities, then ultimately the problems may be arises. Like we can take the example of Maruti Suzuki. When Maruti Suzuki started its business in Indian economy, then Narrow Lake identify the opportunity to provide them car color, then only they have the maximum shares in the economy. The another one is identification of threats. Identification of threats means the businessman has to identify the problems which may be arises in the economy before him. If he identify the threats, if he identify the competition, then only he can run his business smoothly or successfully. If he fails to identify the threats, if he fails to identify the problems, then ultimately the problems may be arises before his business, or he cannot run his business smoothly in the economy. Like we can take the example of Maruti Suzuki and Hyundai also. When Maruti Suzuki comes to know that the Hyundai Motors is also going to start his business in the economy, then Maruti Suzuki multiply its production capacity by 4 times to satisfy the need of the customer who has demanded the product of Maruti Suzuki. That is why the Maruti Suzuki still have maximum shares in the economy. The another importance is tapping resources. Tapping resources means in this importance, the business environment helps the businessman to tap or collect the resources from the different mediums. They can easily collect the raw material, they can easily collect the manpower, they can easily collect the machinery and other resources which is required to produce the goods in the organization. The another importance is coping with rapid changes. Rapid changes means whenever the changes taking place in the environment, then the businessman has to study the business environment only. Then only he can remove all type of problems which maybe arises before the business, which will be arise before the business. So cope up means to remove the problems which may be arises due to the changes take place in the environment. The another importance is assist in planning policy formation. As we know that with the help of business environment, businessman can prepare good plan and policy. If he fails to identify the environment, if he fails to forecast the environment properly, then ultimately he cannot prepare good plan and policy. That is why we can say the study of business environment also helps the businessman to prepare good plan and policy. With the help of good plan and policy, the businessman can easily run his business smoothly in the economy. And the last importance is improvement in performance. As we know that after analyzing the business environment properly, the performance of the businessman will be improved. He will not face any type of problem due to the changes take place in the environment, because he know that how the changes are taking place and how to remove the problems which may be arises due to changes take place in the environment. So student, these are the some importance, and you just go through from the notes also, and some of the case studies are there. You should carefully read the notes, then only you are able to give the answer of these case studies. So students, you just go through about this chapter carefully, because This chapter has the weightage of 5 marks in the board examination, and it is very important chapter for the board examination. So student, thank you, stay home, stay safe.